The War Within music's really good.
Edition of WowCast, and thank you so much for joining us. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Laura Sardinia. I'm lead UX designer in the WoW team.
Hey, I'm Morgan Day, one of the associate game directors on World of Warcraft.
And I'm John Mark Hempel. I'm a lead gameplay engineer on World of Warcraft.
How has the team been approaching what's waiting for players at max level for The War Within?
As we've been talking about, the content that players will be experiencing once they reach the end game, there's really been three main pillars we've been focusing on. The first is variety.
The pillars of creation. The Eye of Aman'Thul, the Discs of Norganon, and the Tear of Elune.
We want to make sure that there's all kinds of
that shirt logo is
activities
sick,
for you to
isn't
do,
it?
Whether it be in the outdoor world or with some of our new features like Delves that are really going to add some new variety for those
What's up,
players.
Stefko?
Additionally, we really want to focus on progression and giving players new challenges to try to overcome in the end game. And finally, the story and making sure that that narrative is front and center. Now, whether that's tied into some of these features and some of the content that we built there, or maybe it's focused on the end game campaign that is going to be built out as players progress.
Only a little over a week. I know. I got shit to get through.
And I'm excited about for the War Within is one of our major features, warbands. If you aren't familiar, this is a feature that really ties all your characters together. And really this is our opportunity to make sure that we're really respecting the time of the player behind the keyboard.
Hey, D. Morrigan.
Not constantly asking you to...
Did you see the Drakthir Warrior they just previewed there? No, I'm sorry. I'm distracted by chat.
Warbands. If you aren't familiar,
is that what that is? Oh yeah, look at that. Cool. I mean, Drakthir only being able to play Evoker's fucking dog shit. So yeah, it's about time.
Really ties all your characters together. And really this is our opportunity to make sure that we're really respecting the time of the player behind the keyboard and not constantly asking you to, maybe re-earn something on one character that you've already earned on another one. That's all changing with the War Within, which is really exciting.
John Mark, can you tell us more about the significance?
I know that this is probably asking for too much, but I kind of wish, I know it's asking for too much, but I kind of wish that the items that dropped for a specific class, I kind of wish that you could still collect that. The background with Ojkat's sick. It is. They confirmed Drakey will get more classes this X pack. Drakey.
Undertakings that warbands is about?
Yeah, it's no easy task to reimagine in a modern context what we've done over the past 20 years. I think, Morgan, at BlizzCon, you called this several features in a trench coat. Yeah. And it's very true. In a nutshell, it's really a philosophical shift in how we approach the game. Instead of being from a character focus, we're taking a step back and approaching it more from what the players accomplished over the entire time that they've played the game. Historically, we've added on pieces to individual systems from the engineering side to support features going into expansions. But if we could wave a magic wand and go back 20 years ago, knowing where we're headed today...
Wait, I was under the impression we were getting that? Didn't they say they're making class sets collectible in 10.05? Oh, good.
My interest in WoW lore.
Hell yeah.
Been really enjoying the streams and videos.
Lightstyle,
Keep
thank
up
you.
The great work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You've been around for a long ass time, dude. It's cool to to see you back and chatting and stuff. I appreciate the Prime, dude. Joel, thank you very much for the Prime for 4. Thank you. They wanted to in 11.0, but it got pushed back. Okay. I love the content schedule they've had lately. Little tidbits here and there. Now they're making a YouTube short. It's great.
Pyro.
Yeah, maybe I need to review that content schedule. Maybe I need to review that content schedule. Thank you, Legion Thunder, for the 6 months, man. Hopefully, yeah, I hope so, dude. I think it'll be okay.
Likely we would have organized those things very differently from an engineering perspective.
Yeah, and I really feel like this is easily one of the largest undertakings that our engineering team has had to develop for an expansion. We always used to look at updates to future patches where let's make this a little bit easier for your ult to catch up or earn some progression there, where now that is something that we're really architecting from the forefront and really beginning the conversation with that.
I think when it's all said and done, every engineering sub-team is gonna have touched this feature.
So what?
Gravity Cat, thank you very much for the Prime Gaming sub for 6 months. Chat, I'm gonna say something, okay? If they don't fuck this up, the World Soul Saga has a possibility, an opportunity to be the greatest era of MMO gaming, specifically perhaps for World of Warcraft ever. If they don't fuck it up. I'm serious. There's a very good chance that that the next 6 years or so is some of the best gaming in terms of MMOs and in terms of WoW ever. And that would be something, that would be nice, man. That would be nice because I would love to continue to have this be what my career. That would be awesome.
Value do warbands
And because
bring?
I love WoW.
It's all about being able to transfer stuff between your characters. If you have items that you want to send from one character to the other, you just put it in the warband bank. If you have currency that you want to send from one character to the other, you can just grab it directly from all the characters.
That's so
that are on your
nice,
account.
dude.
Or if you're a druid and you're going through one of the old raids and you get a
I
piece
put all my time walking tokens on one character because I had them all spread out, and I have over 20,000 time walking badges. But because they were spread out over all my characters, I couldn't do anything with them. So like being able to put them all on one character is so good, dude. It's so good.
plate gear, your warrior can just equip it.
Yeah, one of the things I love about it
I have
is
101,000 time walking badges. Well, I wasn't trying to measure dicks against you guys.
the shared renown, right?
Sorry. Sorry.
Like there's so much reputation that I'm gaining across my characters that will all be combined and consolidated.
No,
on
you're
one
good, guy.
whole
I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking around, dude.
reputation there. There's a lot of fun stuff that also enables when it comes
don't
to
give a
like
fuck.
trying to find more variety in the way I approach the game. For instance, I was leveling I think my second character on the beta recently, and I made sure to go out and turn warband questing on so that I saw all the quests that I already completed.
Dude, all the new map icons, bro. It's bis, dude. It's so good. Like, I think they look so clean. It's a mess. Fuck off, dude. You can literally turn off whatever you don't want on. It's a mess. Fuck off. No, it's a fantastic change. Are you fucking kidding me? The event icon is buggy? The event icon? What do you mean the event icon? You mean the same shit that's been buggy for the entirety of Dragonflight that has nothing to do with this update to icons? Or are you talking about a new one? You guys have badges? I only got a rock. I don't like the hub icon. You guys will complain about anything. Like for rock assaults? Yeah, true. I agree that it's a good change, but it looks cluttered. So disable the ones you don't want. There's a fucking list of filters right there. Turn them off. What do you mean?
It's a little bit less opaque, so it's kind of
The fuck are you complaining about?
And that way like, okay, I've done that quest on
That's the
one of my other
point.
characters, so I can kind of cherry pick all the reputation.
You guys complain about anything we learned by watching you? Shut the fuck up.
Quests that I already completed. It's a little bit
Shut
less
the
opaque,
fuck
so
up.
it's kind of transparent, and that way like, okay, I've done that quest on one of my other characters, so I can kind of cherry pick all the reputation from quests that I haven't completed yet. Something else
trying to
when
pay
it comes
attention to this chat.
maybe gearing that new
Shh,
character.
shush.
There's actually a new type of item called Warbound Until Equipped, or WOO. This is a new
Not yet,
item
Garen.
that will
Bye, Garen.
drop in
I
all
will-
kinds of
I will
endgame
soon.
content, including things like Mythic Plus and Raids, where these will be bonus drops, where they'll drop slightly lower item level where you might have earned that reward, and then you can put that in your bank or send it to one of your alts.
That's fucking sick, dude. So you just randomly get these little bonus pieces of loot that are warbound, and you can just you can send it to any character, and just by playing your main character, you're just like passively getting gear for other characters all the time.
And actually, once you equip it on
That's
one of
so
your characters,
good!
then it will bind to that character. So the fact that it binds to the warband means we can be really generous with that gear as we're dropping for alts.
I imagine as part
Hell
of this
yeah.
overhaul that it's led to some unique challenges with the UI.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. UI revamp continues, and Warbands was a great opportunity for us to revamp the character select. Last
dare they
time
make the
we
game
did
good.
a big entry screen update was during Shadowlands. So with Warbands, we did a whole big user experience revamp there. We kept the right side list, but now you can drag and drop much easier your
Yeah, the
characters.
drag and
we have
drop's
a
so
favorite section
nice,
there,
dude.
which is really cool because they're all cross-helm characters that you can have. So you don't need to be back and forth choosing characters. They're all gonna be there for you, very, very easy. And also the tooltips are all new. Now you just mouse over and it's all there for you. So pretty great improvements
Is that an
overall.
earthen right there?
And
An earthen warrior or something? Cool. Looks like Ouroboros gear. It probably is.
And also the new bank for your warband characters. So a lot of good
Looks like
improvements
Pally.
that we wanted to make sure it feels natural to play as, and it just feels
I
great.
like
That's
how
what
the
I
lady characters, I think that's a lady character, have beards too. I love it, bro. Even that female guard standing back there had a beard. I love it, dude. So good. You get a beard and you get a fucking beard. I wish I could grow a beard like that.
that we wanted to make sure it feels natural to play as, and it just feels great. That's what a good UI should be, you know. So yeah, that's what we're looking for.
There's a lot of functionality out of that too. Like you can craft straight out of your warband bank, so you can just dump all that stuff in your warband bank.
That's so
and,
nice,
you know,
dude.
one of your other characters.
Dude, you can literally just dump all of your
Let's grow
reagents
some beards.
into one bank and then just switch to different crafters as long as they're in the war bank and just craft out of it. Dude, that is just so
be able to use that profession
fuck.
will then be able to
It's so nice,
access
dude.
it much more quickly. You don't have to mail it around, and you know, it's really looking to streamline a lot of those experiences.
For our Mythic Plus runners,
How much is the
or
war bank? Okay, let me clarify something. People complaining about the price of the war bank tabs are bitching because of the last couple of them, okay? They're not immediately that fucking expensive. But if you want to get all of them, yeah, they're gonna cost a lot. Duh. No shit. That's how the guild bank worked too. You gotta spend fucking guild, bro. Gil. Yeah. I just called it guild. You gotta spend guild, which is gil and gold if they had sex and made a new currency.
Any kind of activity that
That's where
requires
Gilded Armor and RuneScape comes from. Gil fuck gold, and here we are.
group. We also
got
revamped
Guild.
the left panel, the little ear pane.
Turning into a Naga.
That you push it out. You can
Shut up.
now apply raid markers much easier. You can also assign different folks in your group to do so, which before wasn't that easy.
Oh, yeah.
And also you can change very easily as well the difficulty of the instance.
Oh, the new raid
One of the
pane is
things
so
I
good.
love that we added is hubs, right? So on the main map, there's often
What kind of hub we talking here? What kind of hub are we talking about here?
as you are progressing in the end game, there's all kinds of content that might be really
Corn
consolidated in one area, and sometimes it's like, oh, there's so much stuff here, and it makes the map feel like it might have a little bit of clutter on it. So we now have a way to kind of consolidate some of that.
The hubs, as Morgan was explaining, when you get in the War
It
Within,
looks
you're gonna see
fine.
this.
I don't like the icon for hubs. What? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? It's a building, bro. Who fucking cares?
The Soul City icon that we're gonna have in each zone, and Dornagal is the biggest one. When you click
The
on it, you
PNG
can
is
see the city map.
wrong.
And one of the technologies that we wanna add, the hub gonna prioritize for you what is the most important content for you to do. Of course, you can choose to do something else.
Shut
but we
the
wanna
fuck up.
clean up the surroundings of
Shut
hubs
the
and
fuck
main
up.
cities. So that's the kind of tech that we're looking into UI as well. And it will
Did you hear that? It's going to condense the quests into the icon like it is right there. And it's going to prioritize the more important content. That way, things inside of this radius, there's probably like 4 quest markers here, but they're all condensed because it's part of the hub.
Soul City icon that we're gonna have in each zone, and Dornagal is the biggest one. When you click on it, you can see the city map. And one of the
Can you see them with mouse
technologies that
over? I think so. I think so.
we want to add,
Maybe.
the hub gonna prioritize for you what is the most important content for you to do.
I mean, that sounds like the other hub that I visit all the time. It prioritizes the most important content for me that it thinks. I'm sorry. Okay, here we
Of
go.
course, you can choose to do something else, but we want to clean up the surroundings of hubs and main cities. So that's the kind of tech that we're looking into UI as well, and we want to evolve and get players feedback.
I don't allow the
Also,
cookies.
for the end game, we have a new type of quest that's called meta quests.
Whoa.
But those
What did she just say? Greetings, friend. I'm here for a short while to help continue rebuilding our relationship with the Earthen. Brinth has come as well, representing the machine speakers. I'm learning so much from her. Our talks are going well, though I'm having some trouble keeping down their mead. Strong stuff. Huh. The Call of the World Soul is what that quest is called. Working with the machine speakers.
meta quests, but those are end game important repeatable quests, and then they are the classic exclamation mark, you know, above the NPC heads, but it's blue because it reminds of the old dailies.
The Omnissiah, praise the Omnissiah.
So you know, that's like, oh, I should check this out. Yeah, so the hub when there's some available as a meta quest for that week, the hub will show that to players, so you know that's something that you should do. If you don't have too much time, you probably should prioritize those because they give very
Archives
very good...
the first disc. Do you see this right here, right now? We're talking archives, we're talking earthen, we're talking discs, bro. We're talking Titan discs and shit, probably though, bro. I need this fucking expansion boiled down in a spoon and injected into my fucking veins, bro. I can't wait.
So that's the kind of technology that UI is trying to help players.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
You might be coming back, or you're veteran players, or you just want to, you know,
it's gonna be so sick.
And that's gonna be all day on the map for you, so you don't have to go back
1 week.
to the icon soup.
7 days.
Extra quality
8 days.
to the UI?
Sure, I've seen a lot
Sorry,
of
I'm
people
talking
very
over
happy
her.
about the search bars. So we keep adding those with
Yes,
Warband.
more
We have a
search
bar there
bars.
as well.
Yes.
In Dragonfly, we had the search for in the options
Yes, that's been in DF, but like.
menu. Professions.
Now what they need is they need keywords. So you need to have things that search up the exact text, but also you need to have keyword like acknowledgement. So if someone types in a word that's really similar to what the setting is, you should have that setting pull up anyway. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a setting for specifically what's typed, it should pull up whatever's closest to the terms used. That'd be pretty smart.
Something specific, bags, we added that in Dragonfly, and the talents. But now, the spell
Wait, I
book is
didn't know you
getting
could search your bags. Wait a second. What?
as well. In Dragonfly, we had the search for in the options menu. Professions, of course, if you're searching for something specific, bags, we added that.
Wait, there's a search bar on the bag? Is that a Pexis Asiago? They're fucking with us. No, that's Parmesan. It can't be a Pexis Asiago.
The spellbook is getting a whole revamp, and it's so good to have a search bar there. The spellbook looks beautiful now. Like you can have 2 pages, and that way you don't have to paginate as much.
Thanks for the prime, though.
But if
I
you
appreciate
really prefer
that.
one pane, there is an icon at the top, which is the collapse one. It comes back to the original classic size.
I kind of
So
like this. I don't know.
really
I
love
like the
that,
new
and
spellbook. I just wish it was resizable. I wish it was freely resizable. That's my only thing. Is I wish you could kind of like move it around and the icons would just like adjust, you know? That's my only thing. It's just really tall. It's just really tall.
We want to make sure that everyone is happy with the new spellbook. Having the time
Damn, I'm sorry, you're good, dude.
to do all that stuff make us so happy, because we want to keep the classic WoW look, even though it looks modern, but it still feel WoW, and that's really important for us.
Zacharias, thank you very much for the
Earlier
Prime
you
Gaming
mentioned
sub.
you want to empower players to play the way they want to play. How is that going to be approached in the new feature Delves?
Yeah, so, like we've discussed,
Yeah, here we go,
Delves are really
Delves.
bite-sized content, really targeted on those players who love progression in the outdoor world.
Imagine, if you sub to me, I'm gonna ban you. Imagine. People just start slinging Prime subs. Fucking ban! Fucking ban! No, you're not gonna get banned. I'm just fucking around.
World, and maybe aren't so excited about going into group content or queued content. Something that they gave us feedback on is that they really wish that there was a way for these to be a bit more difficult and maybe give them a bit of a challenge too. Delves, while the rewards might end at tier 8, so that the item level that you're getting stops there, the difficulty tier goes to 11. And when you reach that difficulty, there will be a hard mode version of Zekfir, which for people who might be familiar with some of those solo challenges like the Mage Tower of the past, this will be a new solo challenge for players to really, try to tackle over time. And we imagine this is something that will take quite a bit of effort and, progression to get to the point where you'll be able to defeat Zekfir at that difficulty.
I like that.
And waiting for you, if you're able to do that, is a really awesome, unique, kind of voided out version of that customizable.
You said thanks for the Prime, and it reminded me that I have a Twitch Prime. I don't watch Twitch anymore because of the ads. You know that if you use your Prime, you don't get ads anymore, right? Just saying.
Delve mount that you're going to be rewarded with very early on in your Delve progression.
Yeah, and if your budget's limited and you watch multiple streamers, there's Twitch Turbo. If you pay for Twitch Turbo, it's just like ad-free on any channel. You don't get the emotes and stuff on a channel, but the streamers get a cut of they get a percentage of the ad revenue based on the fact that you have Turbo, and then you don't have to watch any ads. So there is that.
Can you talk about the different varieties of delves?
Yeah, so with delves, there's
customizable mounts are
13 delves
sick.
in total, and
From Germany, what's
something
up?
that we really wanted to focus on was
Guten
to
Morgen.
make sure that each delve had multiple variants, right? So while there's
Whatever they
12
say.
delves that you'll experience and be sent to, you know, a couple
Guten
in each
Tag.
zone.
Good day.
Every time you zone in, we wanted to make sure
Isn't
that
Morgan
you know,
morning?
it wasn't just some small tweaks here and there, like
guess it's-
the spawning changed a little bit, or maybe there's some traps
It's
that look
12
a little
here.
bit different.
It's afternoon.
The actual objectives are changing. Sometimes the way you traverse
Guten
through
Abend.
the delve completely changes. Maybe you're going to start at the end of the delve this time and work your way backwards. So we wanted to make sure that these different variants were really distinct with each new delve.
Whoa, hold on. I gotta watch some of this back.
Variants, right? So while there's 12
So we got some Void Worshipy boys.
delves that you'll experience and be sent to, you know, a couple in each zone.
Interesting magic channeling into that thing.
Every time you zone in, we wanted to make sure that, you know, it wasn't just
Jackal!
Boy.
Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy! Thank you very much for the tier 1 for 2 months, brother.
some small tweaks here and there, like, the spawning changed a little bit, or maybe there's some traps that look a little bit different. The actual objectives are changing. Sometimes the way you traverse through the delve completely changes. Maybe you're going to start at the end of the delve this time and work your way backwards. So we wanted to make sure that...
I mean, that's not really changing that much, to be fair. Like, yeah, that's a good variation, but that's not... Hopefully it's more than just turning around and going the other direction.
different variants were
Also, nice growth. It's disgusting.
really distinct with each new delve. And we also wanted to make sure that, like I said earlier, with progression to be a large part of this. So there's a couple different, you know, aspects of that. For one, the Great Vault, which is something that a lot of our, you know, Raid and PvP and Mythic Plus players are familiar with, is going to get an outdoor row with the War Within. So the loot
nice.
that comes from delves, we wanted to make sure that while it was bite-sized content, that doesn't mean it can't be really rewarding, right? So if you're able to, you know, work your way up and defeat level 8, which is where the loot kind of caps out at, your Great Vault will actually reward you with items that are higher item level than you would get out of like a Mythic plus 10 end of run chest. So it's
Damn. Did you see that a Ghastly Charger will be available for Twitch drops in like 12 days? Look, I don't mean to be a salty Sam here, but look, as someone who has had a Fell Drake for a very long time, it really bothers me that they just gave it away to everyone for free. You know, I don't mean to be that guy, but like, what the fuck?
really good loot.
Yeah, it's really
and we
rewarding.
want to make sure that you're using that.
I feel the same
you know,
way
gear
about that
we're
mount.
earning along the way to work through the different delve tiers and finally, you know, take.
Why
the fight
can't something just be ultra rare and unobtainable anymore? Like, why can't that just be a thing? Why do they have to give it to you? I don't know.
to Zekvir and by extension,
If they make
Bell.
Swift Spectral Tiger a Twitch drop, I'm gonna have problems. We're gonna have problems. I will be fucking livid if they do that. As someone with a Swift, I will be fucking pissed.
Path as well, which also gets us into feeling
We're
like
gonna have problems. Anger problems.
delves should be a big part of our endgame story as well, and making sure that they're paying into this narrative of Xalatath and all of our epic heroes that we're experiencing.
That's good,
along
so
the
they're
way.
narratively
Something else that we
relevant.
added in the UI for delves is, you know, there's now a whole tab that exists for delves that will exist down with the, you know, the adventure journal, where you can see Mythic Plus and see your seasonal
Nice.
journey there. Now when you go to the delves tab, you can find the Great Vault from there. You can also see Bran, who's your companion.
Okay,
You
but
can-
what about Mage Tower weapons appearances? If anything, they should bring the Mage Tower back and let you earn it. Like that.
change his spec and see kind of the progression there. So lots of fun UI additions and improvements that have made
Like, look, I want challenge modes, but I don't want you guys to just have the challenge modes that I have for nothing. You know? I got gold in all of them when they were current for a reason. You know? I feel like as someone who participated in said content when it was current and did all of it, that it's rather frustrating to see years later that type of, it's not that this hasn't happened, but it would be frustrating to see that happen because exclusivity should be a thing to a degree. I think that like there's a healthy level of exclusivity in video games. And like part of what makes things really cool is rarity and exclusivity. And so when that's not a thing, that'd be lame. A recolor would be better. I agree.
Made delves that much more fun.
The team has also made significant changes to the Mythic Plus dungeons. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so actually, not only is Mythic Plus...
And I think that they would be more likely to do recolors than to just put it out again.
Changes, but also the core progression of dungeons is shifted quite a bit. So if you've been playing Dragonflight Season 4...
Also, why does a Swift Spectral Tiger look the same as a Titan? Maybe the Titans are spectral beings. And if that's true, then, yikes.
You might have seen that Mythic Zero has actually gotten quite the facelift.
I just made that up.
Something that we have noticed in the past is Mythic Zero was
it's just blue. It's
great for like 2 weeks of an expansion, and then nobody really needed to do it anymore because they had just progressed into Mythic Plus. So with The War Within, a Mythic Zero will be the equivalent of what, you know, if you haven't played since Shadowlands, Mythic 10.
Isn't it weird that Amanthul breaks down Argus into multiple Constellars? Well, he doesn't break him down into multiple Constellars. It's implied that Argus calls upon these Constellars, that they are his servants.
So it's quite
very
difficult.
Weird.
And will be equally as rewarding, but you know, we wanted to capture that audience of people who loved that feeling of the mega dungeons. You know, there's still progression, but also there's no timer, right? So if that was something that maybe put you off from Mythic Plus, this is something that you can still do with your friends, and hey, you can run AFK if you need to.
I don't know what cinematic you're talking about.
But for Mythic Plus itself, we really took a huge step back and wanted to do a major affix refresh. We have gone through multiple iterations of that on the beta.
Finally, Mythic Plus without timer.
A lot of feedback from our first iteration of it, and have really pivoted significantly since then.
It was kind of neat because...
Yeah, I don't like time trial content. I think time trial content 9 out of 10 times is fucking dog shit. I don't know. I don't like time trial stuff. Time trial is meant for racing games.
Because we had some players that said, we really like the direction of these affixes. These I don't know about. And then other players that felt the exact opposite. I'm not sure about these, but I really like this direction. And really what it helped us crystallize was we had multiple groups of players that wanted different challenges out of the same Mythic Plus system. Historically, affixes have been a one-size-fits-all approach to challenge and variety. But it was kind of a cool moment. Morgan came to the gameplay engineering team and was like, hey, we got this feedback. We have this idea for making affixes target different level ranges rather than applying to the entirety of Mythic Plus. And the design solution ended up being...
That's an interesting animation right there. It's almost like the light of the crystal is being pushed towards the tip by whatever's inside of it. Like the darkness is like pushing the light
affixes
out.
target different...
Or converting to it. Just like such a fascinating... animation.
level ranges rather than applying to the entirety of Mythic Plus. And the design solution ended up being pretty elegant for engineering to implement. It was like this beautiful confluence of events where we were able to turn this around within, I don't know, 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't physically come out of it, but it looks like, you know, it's like you see it all receding towards the bottom.
The full...
What the fuck is that thing called? Belladar? Or Merildar or some shit? Belladar? I mean, that's a Naru as fuck name. But the Arathi named it that, right? Yeah? Bellular. Who told you these words, young man? Where did you learn this? Are you kidding me? People haven't been able to keep their mouth shut about the name of that fucking thing for the last 6 months. You really thought I wasn't going to find out? I've seen it in the Discord like 3 times. It just is what it is.
whole revamped system back on the beta for players to test.
Yeah, it was really awesome to see kind of that.
I didn't know
all come
that till
together.
now. Yeah, now we know. Yeah, people don't. You can't shield me from everything. So.
So, you know, what players I've seen now and what will be going live with The War Within Season 1 is a version where Xalatath actually plays
I'm not going to pretend like I don't know it, you know?
a major role in the affixes, you know, from the beginning up until level 12. And
Has the race name, character name of the Troll Elves been spoiled for you? No.
it's very much one of the goals we had. Xalatath actually plays a major role in the affixes, you know, from the beginning up until level 12. And it's very much one of the goals we had to make sure that the story plays a part in all of our endgame content. So we really wanted to kind of achieve that by having her kind of show up in your Mythic Plus dungeon and maybe throw some spells at you and
Oh,
mess
that's
with you.
cool. What the
You know,
fuck?
we're coming up on the 20th anniversary.
Dude, they learned so much shit from the jailer, bro. It's unbelievable how much better they're building Xalatath compared to what they did with Zoval. It's actually like not even remotely similar, dude.
Anniversary of World of Warcraft this year, and if you're coming back from a break or if you're a completely new player, just learning the dungeons can be daunting on top of affix.
Some of the designs here are they look like Zareth Mortis. It reminds me of the Primus, and the fact that we're talking Nerubians here. The green gems, the gold gilding. I don't like this. I don't like this. These containment pods. I don't like this. Whatever this is. I don't know, dude. The Nerubians in Warcraft 3 are part of the Scourge, right? But they're not forced to be part of the Scourge, or are they? They are, aren't they? Wasn't that the whole thing with the king, Anubarak, that they were like bound into servitude by the fucking Scourge or some shit? Arthas forces them into service. They are forced by Arthas. But this is modernized version of ancient Nerubian. Why is it muted?
Of World of Warcraft this year, and if you're coming back from a break or if you're a completely new player, just learning the dungeons can be daunting.
Dead Nerubians raises Crypt Fiends. Nerubians went north, some got caught by the Scourge, some got manipulated by Old God minions. But the Nerubians are alleged to not like either of them as far back as Wrath, right? Obviously, the Nerubians serving Arthas are undead like the king Anubarak. He was raised into servitude. But the Nerubians also fought against the old gods. Dude, what we're told about the old gods is so not fucking true. I can't wrap my head around this. I can't wrap my head around the ancient civilization that stems directly from the old gods, allegedly. Not only fighting against them, but also outright rejecting their bid for allegiance. Like, I'm having like a hard time like reconciling this. Unless their history unless it's not true, or unless their history has been shaped by order so heavily that they don't remember or don't care about the old ways or something like that. But why are we told that the old gods make the Nerubians and that they're like subservient hive mind empire if that's not true? Well, I think that implies that the Titans lied. Right? Or they changed allegiance at some point. Or just found a way to break free. Break free from what? They weren't said to be mind controlled. They weren't using domination on them.
On top of affixes and things like that. So this sort of granular way that affixes apply challenges to the dungeons allows players to engage with them in the way that they want to be challenged.
Something that we added in Dragonflight, which is the follower dungeons, are great for that, because
they purposely have obfuscated as much about the past as possible, the elements warring with old gods and the Titans coming in to set things right. Yeah, even though like 80% of the information that we have actually suggests that the elemental lords served the old gods, and that it wasn't a matter of them being enslaved or fighting them, that they were like their lieutenants beneath them. And why wouldn't they be, considering the old gods would have let them run rampant and chaotically in the way that the Titans wouldn't have?
Have NPC companions, which are not real players, playing with you through the dungeon. And let's say you just changed to a new spec, you want to be a healer now, and I really want to try that first before really going to a dungeon with new players.
We know that players in dungeons often are afraid of trying out new specs. And with hero talents, there's different flavors of new combat for people to try out. And follower dungeons provide a way for you to just go in and feel it out and not be too concerned about how you're impacting other people.
Approachability has been mentioned a few times. How are we applying that to PvP?
There's a ton of people who love battlegrounds, but you know, the jump into arenas sometimes might be a little bit scary. That is a much more smaller experience.
I'll show you guys one other thing regarding it after this.
Each little mistake counts for a lot when you're in an arena. Where in a battleground, you know, there's a lot more going on. Usually they last longer. There's objectives. So we really are excited about that new feature. I know I have done a ton of, I know the community calls them YOLO RBGs, where you can just do RBGs, don't worry about voice chat, you just kind of go in and play. I always love running into those, so having this feature will kind of take that place for me. So I'll be able to earn my conquest early on in the season. You know, I know we mentioned the Great Vault quite a bit earlier when we were discussing this. We actually got a lot of feedback from our PvP players that they don't love having to have the Great Vault be such a big part of their itemization and gearing journey. Not only does it add some potential randomization, right? Like maybe first week of the season you got a weapon and I don't, and that, you know, kind of can create some imbalance there. But also, like we're talking about accessibility, it can also cause problems where, you know, maybe you're a couple weeks into the season and you just now want to get into PvP, but there's no catch up on the Great Vault. So you can feel like you're permanently behind on PvP, and it's maybe the barrier to entry is a little too high for you to get into that. So not having that in the Great Vault actually solves a lot of problems for us, giving players more agency in how they're rewarded, and also we have much stronger catch-up on things like our conquest currency for PvP players. So we think that will be a big step forward for that audience, and hopefully, you know, inspire some people to check out PvP in the War Within.
Raiding is an integral part of endgame. How is the team approaching raids this tier?
Yeah, so Nerebar Palace is going to be an epic experience. You know, Nerubians galore in there. And one of the cool new features that we're introducing with War Within is to play through the raid, or at least experience the ending with Queen Ansurek solo. So we wanted to make sure that for people who were really engaged in that story at the end game, but maybe didn't want to go into queued content or don't have a whole group to go into the raid with, they'll still be able to see that epic finale. Something else that I think is really fun.
So it's only going to be the end? It's kind of what it sounds like here. Right now. It's not what I heard. I think they're just testing the waters. That's not what they're saying.
There's a lot of variety in player skill across all of our player types in the game, and we have a lot of difficulties for them. But even within a single raid, there can be a lot
that's all they're gonna do.
You know, progression that you're experiencing. And with Dragonflight, we added a new item upgrade system where you could upgrade some of your gear. But some players also found that they might not be able to quite get over that hurdle on one of the, maybe the end boss or something that comes.
It's last two, I heard.
Boss. So we're adding a new quest that will unlock about a month into the War Within, that every week you'll get a little bit more powerful. It's kind of reminiscent of like Hellscream's war song back in Icecrown Citadel, but you'll have to kind of earn your way through.
What the fuck is that? It's Gahoon.
on the character.
Yeah, that's another.
Love to bring it up, the self-highlight option.
Maybe would have just been some earn your way through that progression. So not only is there awesome gear to be earned as you progress through the raid, but we wanted to make sure that for people who might take a little bit longer, there's some more progression along with just the gear.
That buff's applied throughout your warband, right? It's not just on the character.
Yeah, that's another really fun thing. Again, like that was something that maybe would have just been applied to a single character, but in War Within, that buff is across my whole warband.
The ethereal set's so
While
good.
we are talking about raids, I would love to bring it up, the self-highlight option, which I'm a huge fan. You can highlight yourself and persist that. But now you can even have an icon on your head that nobody can take from you. So that is awesome. You know, for players, I'm included. I cannot find myself in the whole chaos of a raid boss or even Mythic Plus. There's also another option that's called Show Silhouette when Obscured. If you have that on, there is a silhouette of your character between that pillar. Let's say it's a pillar, so you see your character there.
I always call those like the flag boss or the tree boss, where it's like, the flag is in my camera.
It's kind of nice.
That's really cool, Laura, and I love that. And you know, not only those cool options, but there's so much more to explore in the War Within, and I'm really excited for our players to come on this journey with us. Both players who have been with us all through Dragonflight, as well as players who might be returning.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this look into endgame content, and we look forward to seeing you in Kazalgar.
Cool, good video. Took forever to get through. That's okay though. That's the way it goes.